Hello, this is Lacy Rice Jr. of the Greater Hardin County Women's Network, welcoming you to the 2022 Hardin County Political Candidates Forum Series, co-sponsored by the Greater Hardin County Women's Network and the Hardin County Branch of the NAACP. Tonight, our candidates are running for Hardin County Clerk. Joining us are candidates Debbie Donnelly, the incumbent, and challenger Brian Smith. Tonight's format will be a 2-minute open statement followed by 9 questions. The candidates have 1 minute to answer each question. There will be one question that will be 2 minutes. To conclude, each candidate will have 1 minute to summarize. Tonight's timekeeper is Lenora Young of the Hardin County Branch of the NAACP. A coin flip was conducted earlier to determine the first question, and that question goes to Mr. Brian Smith, which will actually be his opening statement.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the Greater Hardin County Women's Network and the Hardin County Branch of the NAACP for hosting this forum. I think candidate forums are incredibly important. I thank you for being a champion for voter education and access. Tell you a little bit about myself. I'm married to Brianne Bateman Smith. She was born here in Hardin County and then graduated from North Hardin High School. We have 4 kids, 3 of them college age, and a 7-year-old. You heard that right. I currently serve as Director of Economic Development for our Congressman, Brett Guthrie. Director of Economic Development means I just solve complicated problems every day for individual constituents as well as communities. I work on large projects and small projects. I work with local, state, and federal officials to better our communities and to respond in times of disaster. I handle everything from Corps of Engineers to FEMA, and during COVID, handled a whole lot of other things, as we all did. But I have 14 years in my current job. Prior to that, I was Director of Field Services for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, where I ran a statewide outreach program that encompassed a large number of staff and a large budget. I implemented staff training and staff protocols during my tenure there. So I have the experience and bring a unique perspective to the clerk's job. But most importantly, I want to be an advocate for all voters of Hardin County.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Ms. Donnelly, your opening.
Thank you all, Lacy and Lenora, for hosting this tonight. And people need to be educated. And so with forums like this, they can receive that education and learn about each of us. I was born and raised in Hardin County, so I've lived here all my life. And my husband's lived here. We have 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy. 2 of them live in Jefferson County. 1 lives here. And then, of course, grandchildren. There's nothing like them. But I started at the Hardin County Clerk's office after I graduated. So I have a lot of experience at the Hardin County Clerk's office. And later I became the Chief Operating Officer and then stepped up to run for the Hardin County Clerk's position. And when I was asked to do that, I jumped at it because that was my goal, was to be the Hardin County Clerk. And I love this job. I wouldn't want to do anything else. I put my heart and soul in it. And anyone will ask you, you know, if I get out there and work, I work as well as the others. And so it's I just love it. And so people will say, you know, you'll hear people talking about retirement and all that. And I said, retirement is not in my vocabulary. And so I love what I do, and I want to continue what I'm doing.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Donnelly.
You're welcome.
Ms. Donnelly, this first question goes to you. In your opinion, what are the duties of the county clerk?
The duties, we have several. This is a constitutional office. It's a fees based office, and your duties go from vehicle registration. We have the real estate side, which does marriage license, records deeds. We do e-recordings. We do marriage license. We do voter registration. And we train well in voter registration. We train well in every position in this office. And so because we want to give great customer service, and we do that, we get a lot of praise for how we conduct ourselves and how we operate the office. And but it's a large undertaking, and you've got to love what you do.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ms. Donnelly.
You're welcome.
Mr. Smith, the same question.
Sure, Debbie covered a lot of the issues very well, and I applaud her for that. One of the things that is most important, and I think is the highest moral responsibility, is to be the chief election officer for Hardin County. It's about running our elections. It's about choosing polling locations. And this is an area where Ms. Donnelly and I have a strong sense of disagreement. I think we need more polling locations in our community. I have met with other county clerks across the state. I have also studied the election returns. And in counties where we see a large number of polling locations, you have higher return. So it's one of the things I want to do is bring back more polling places to Hardin County. I have the connections in this county to recruit and train the poll workers. I also want to restore the vehicle registration office in Radcliffe. I've talked to other clerks. I know it can be done.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smith. This next question goes to you, Mr. Smith. What are some of your ideas to improve processes in the county clerk office?
Sure, I'll expand on some of the things I just mentioned. Reopening the clerk's office isn't just about serving Radcliffe. It's not just about having a branch office to have one. We know that this is a large and growing county. It's also a diverse community. That office served not just Radcliffe, but Vine Grove, West Point, and Fort Knox. And I want to put an exclamation point on Fort Knox. The men and women who are civilian employees out there, our DOA or Department of Army employees, can't get to the government center, conduct business, and be back on their lunch break, but they could when the office was in Radcliffe. And I'm on post quite a bit and have talked to a lot of those folks, and they are desperate to have that office reopened. I can find ADA compliant facilities and negotiate office space. I know I can do it because I've done it 7 times in my current position for my current boss. I've negotiated office space in Radcliffe. Happy to do it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Smith. Ms. Donnelly, same question.
And with me in this position, I know what it takes, and I know what you have to have. And we have had several soldiers in our office, and you know what they told us? This is the best county clerk's office that they've been in, because in other states, they would have to take a whole day off to go do their vehicle registration. They're blown away with our service and the length of time that they're in our office. So you may talk to people, but we've actually had soldiers in here talking to us, telling us how it was in their states and how they appreciate us and how we operate the office. And but that's what we're here for. And so, yes, and the whole county is what we serve, the whole county. And yes, we lean more toward the military because they've gone out and served for us, and we appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Donnelly.
You're welcome.
Ms. Donnelly, what is the most important issue facing the county clerk?
The most important issue really is serving the people of Hardin County, because you have to know what you're doing to be able to help the citizens of Hardin County. And I'm talking about all the citizens of Hardin County. And it's, you can think you know how to run something, but until you've been in the shoes, you know, you can talk a lot, but I'm there to help each and every citizen in this county. And like I said earlier before we open, I love this county, and everywhere I go to talk, I talk about this is the best county, and anyone that wants to retire, they need to come to Hardin County and live here.
Okay. Mr. Smith, same question.
Absolutely, hands down, it's growth. Our county is poised to grow faster than it ever has before. We're the fourth largest by area, the sixth largest by population. With the recent announcements in Glendale and Elizabethtown for new industry that are coming, that's going to explode. And we have to have somebody in every office, including the clerk's office, who has the energy, the excitement, and the enthusiasm to grow service along with our growing county. I want to expand services, not just a branch office, but we want to stay open late one day a week, at least to 6 o'clock. That's going to help folks who can't get to the clerk's office by 4:30. Closing at 4:30, even banks don't do that anymore. So I can stagger the staff schedule. It won't require any additional staff, and we can stay late. Most other clerk's offices offer late hours or Saturday service. We can do it here in Hardin County.
All right. Mr. Smith, how will you work with the city governments in the county?
It's a great question. I already do in my current job. I have an ongoing text with the mayors of the 4 largest cities. We have a great working relationship. I think their party affiliation is different than mine, although it never comes up. We've worked with the city of Vine Grove recently on a major construction project. They hit a snag. They called me 2 phone calls later. Snag was unsnagged. We've worked with the city of Elizabethtown on a number of projects, and in my current role working for the congressman. I also have experience in working with our folks at the county level. We need to be less concerned about territorial lines and more concerned about service.
All right. Ms. Donnelly, same question.
Yes, I have a great relationship with all the city officials. We get questions, they call, ask questions, we answer those. We work well with them, and I think that's what it's all about. If you're going to make something work, you have got to work together. It cannot be a 1 person or a 2 person. Everyone has to work together. And when you do that, you're going to watch your county grow like it should. And so to me, working together is the answer for anything that you do.
Ms. Donnelly, one important issue for Northern Hardin County residents is the clerk's office in Radcliffe. Would you advocate reopening it? And if so, what is the process?
Well, Lacy, we did have a branch office there, and you know, it takes a lot of to operate an additional office. You have to look at, I should say, you have to look at your costs, you have to look at your employees. You can have good ideas like, I'm going to stay open late, I'm going to do this, but you got to think about that. You have sheriff's inspections on your cars. You have the military that are exempt from taxes. You know where they have to go to do that? Property valuation. So you've got 2 other offices involved. It's not a 1 office duty. It's a 3 office duty, but it's I've got something in store for all the county. Right now, I cannot reveal that, but I do have something that I'm looking at doing.
Okay. Mr. Smith, same question.
Sure, I don't have some mystery unnamed service I'm promising. I'm going to promise to reopen the Radcliffe office. I spend a lot of time in Radcliffe because that's where my current office is. There is plenty of space available that is ADA compliant and will provide service to all of it. Quite frankly, it's not just the cost, it's a cost benefit analysis that needs to be done. There are always costs with government services, but we need to make sure the benefits are weighed in as well. And I'm not worried about working with the other offices, the sheriffs and the PVA. I'm willing to stay late. It's their decision whether they would like to or not. But I do know for a fact that other counties are doing it. Other counties are staying open past 4:30. other counties even offer occasionally Saturday service. It just seems to boggle my mind that Hardin County is the only one who can't do this.
Okay. Mr. Smith and Ms. Young, please recalibrate your timer for 2 minutes. This question goes to you first, Mr. Smith.
Yes, sir.
There were no reports of voter fraud in Hardin County and very little in the Commonwealth. However, a pundit made unsubstantiated claims that were debunked by the current Secretary of State, Michael Adams. How will you instill confidence in the process? And who are other important actors empowered to ensure election integrity?
Thank you for that question. I appreciate it. Election integrity is important. I don't think there was any fraud or a mishandling of past elections in terms of the vote count at all. Now, I do question the low number of options that were available in terms of polling locations. For example, in 2020, we only had 4 polling locations. Debbie keeps saying that was a record year, but the turnout in 2016, the prior presidential election, was 54.9%. And in 2020, it went down to 54%. Now, we know we were dealing with COVID, but statewide, our turnout went up, but it went down in Hardin County. Debbie keeps calling it a record turnout, but what she's talking about is the growth in the number of registered voters. From 2016 to 2020, we had 10,000 more voters, and we grew as a county by 3.4% population. Now, who are the other actors? I have great working relationships with all the constitutional officers in Kentucky. I even have a liaison that I work with in the governor's office, and we're different parties, but I'm ready to lean into those folks. I believe voter integrity starts with transparency, and it starts with transparency from day one all the way through the count at the tally room at the end of election night.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Donnelly, I will repeat this question since the lead-in was so long. There were no reports of voter fraud in Hardin County and very little in the Commonwealth. However, a pundit made unsubstantiated claims that were debunked by the current Secretary of State, Michael Adams. How would you instill confidence in the process? And who are the other important actors empowered to ensure election integrity?
Well, you know, we have to do a security and contingency plan. Each county has to turn one of those in each year. So we have a plan instilled for the elections. And the Secretary of State, we work with the Secretary of State, we work with the State Board of Elections, and I had Homeland Security to come in and look our place over, tell us if there was anything we needed to do or not. We passed that with flying colors, and it's, you know, we talk about the turnout, and yes, we did have the coronavirus in 2020, and we had a great turnout for that, the best. And I don't know how we did it, except for we did absentee ballots, and we had the early voting for like 3 weeks. I believe that's what made the people turn out and vote. And I have been an advocate for the doctors, the nurses, the factories, the veterans to be able to vote by absentee, because a factory worker cannot even get out of their parking lot to go vote anywhere. So a lot of people were not being allowed to vote, and you've got to have a good reason in your county. And so with the early voting, that took care of that. And I love the early voting. Of course, they put it down to 3 days now, which I'm glad that we still have the early voting. But the integrity of our elections here in Hardin County are great. And in the state of Kentucky, we hold excellent elections.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, the rest of the questions will be 1 minute each. Ms. Donnelly, do you have plans to expand service hours, and if so, how?
Well, Lacy, really, at this moment, I don't have plans to expand hours because it takes employees. You don't realize what it takes to have an office like this. You can think that you know, but we have in this county, I've got 26 employees right now. And those employees, each and every one of them, work hard every single day. So expanding, if we needed to, we could think about that. But what we've heard is nothing but good. And there again, I'll tell you, the military is excited about our office. And from the states they came from, they would take a whole day off. So there again, we get nothing but praise from this office.
Mr. Smith, same question.
I'm going to agree with one thing Debbie said, that the military are treated better in Kentucky than they are in most other states. But that's really has a system to do with our Commonwealth, not one particular county. I've mentioned several times tonight, yes, I will expand services. I'm committed to it. I can do it. Other counties can do it. Debbie actually temporarily cut her office hours and started closing at 4 o'clock. There was no public announcement about it. I have the screen captures from when they changed the office hours, and it wasn't until I posted her political opponent that she was closing every day at 4 o'clock that they suddenly reopened again at 4:30. And the reason I found out that she started closing at 4 o'clock is a prominent Democrat in our county called me on my cell phone from her parking lot. He was pretty upset. He was trying to conduct business on his daughter's vehicle before the end of the day and found out they just suddenly started closing at 4 o'clock.
Mr. Smith, please give examples of working with others in a bipartisan manner.
Sure, absolutely. Do it every single day. When I was meeting with folks about this campaign, I met with Democrats as well as Republicans. My campaign treasurer is a registered Democrat. I wanted to make sure that I could represent all of Hardin County. In my day-to-day job as a representative of a U.S. congressman, we work with whomever is elected. That's county judges across 21 county region. That's mayors. That's magistrates. We've worked together on a number of projects. I've helped solve Corps of Engineers issues in communities that have water intake problems. I have dealt with FEMA in communities. FEMA is a tough beast, but I have valiantly fought for every dollar that they're entitled to for local communities. And I do that, don't even know the party of some of these elected officials. We fight for them all.
Ms. Donnelly, same question.
Yes, I work with everyone. I don't ask their parties. I don't want to know their parties. What I want to know is how we're going to get things done. And again, I stress how well it is to work with each other, because to get things done, you have to work well together. And to me, that's what it's all about. I don't care about party affiliation. As long as we work together and get things done for the citizens of all of Hardin County, that's what matters to me. So I'm for the people. I'm not for me. I'm not for anybody else. I'm for the people. That's how I work.
Okay. Ms. Donnelly, who will be the prime influencer of your positions and votes on fiscal court?
Who are the influencers on fiscal court?
Or who influences your positions, the positions you take, and in your position on fiscal court?
Well, my position on fiscal court, you always have to, the county clerk takes the minutes for fiscal court. That's what we do. And so we sign the documents that's passed in fiscal court. I said to the judge one time, I said, I've got a meeting this week. And so I don't know if I'll be able to be there Tuesday. He said, Debbie, did you know that I've only missed one meeting? And I said, no. And he says, you know, when I missed that meeting, he said, that's when I got hit by a truck. And that's the only meeting that he has missed in his entire time as our county judge. And he's done a superb job. But yes, that's our main thing that we do is take the minutes, and then we record all the documents in our office. So those documents come to the county clerk's office to record.
Okay. Mr. Smith, same question.
Absolutely. Our community is going through some change. We know that Judge Berry is retiring after 20 years. And so we will get a new county judge executive. It will be chosen by the people here. I know both candidates running. One is running as a write-in and one is running as a Republican. And I know I've met most of the magistrate candidates. We have Republicans, Democrats, at least one independent, and I believe at least one write-in candidate running for magistrate. I'll build relationships with them, and in fact, most of them I already know. One of the candidates running, his son and mine were in Scouts together. We have great working relationships existing with those folks. Look forward to working with them.
All right, thank you. So now we end where we started, and because we did only ask a certain number of questions, it falls upon Mr. Smith again to first summarize, be the first one to summarize.
Thank you. I again want to thank you all for hosting this event. Any opportunity to educate the voters and meet the voters, I'm up for, and so is my opponent. And I want to pay my opponent several compliments. During this race, I've not called her any names. She's not called me any names. We have differences of opinion on policy and procedures, but it's not personal. She is a nice person. She's a kind person. She has dedicated decades of service to our county, and I applaud her for that. I bring a different level of experience and a broad level of experience. I've worked in multiple positions where I've been able to learn from different leaders, all the way from our folks at the military to our local, state, and federal leaders. And I believe that will suit me well to serve all of Hardin County.
Okay. Ms. Donnelly, same question or same summary.
Okay. Well, as you know, there again, I love my job. I love what I do, and I love working for the people of Hardin County. And I take that all the way up to the state. We have meetings at the state level. We have monthly meetings at our KCCA meetings. And this next year, I will be the president of the KCCA. And so I'm excited about that. And on our, I just want to put out there on our hours, we're open 7:45 to 4:30 for customers. And we actually, the employees stay here to 4:45. And at the time when we were closing at 4 o'clock, we were closing at 4 o'clock to be able to get the dealers' work done. So the employees were not leaving. So we opened early. So the individuals like coming in early, and that's why I put the time to 7:45, because during the pandemic, we opened at 6 o'clock. People would come in. So we let them come on in, and I had workers here, and we switched off from 6 to 7, and I see my time is up, but there again, I love my job.
Okay. Thank you, both
You're
candidates, for
Thank you.
participating.
Thank you. God bless you all.
Okay, we ask that you, the voter, consider what the candidates said tonight before making a decision. Do not vote simply because you know someone or because someone else refers a candidate to you. Use information presented to you to make an informed decision when you go to the polls, because your vote matters, your decisions matter, and we want to have good elections in Hardin County as well as good people serving us. So thank you. And on behalf of the Greater Hardin County Women's Network and the Hardin County Branch of the NAACP, we wish all a great weekend or a great week. Thank you.